Welcome to Goldboys Live. It is here. We are here. The start of the NFL. Pick it sports, sleeper picks, Hall of Fame bets. Brad Thomas, me, breaking down everything. We'll get into some college picks. We'll do everything on this game. There's some baseball. There's no baseball during the day. What else is new? But
I
Brad,
know.
it is here. The summer is over. No more pretending like the preseason is when football's back. The football is not back until the NFL is back. So we are back. It is here. What's going on?
We are so back. And I knew we were so back when you're probably the same way. I love handicapping. Like it's just fun to me. Last night I couldn't sleep, so I cracked open my computer and I handicapped more lines. And I was like, wow, we are so back. Like I would never do that with basketball. I would never do that with maybe I would do it golf. I would never do it with baseball, but football, oh, it's just such a great, like a rush because you know that you have 2 days until you're watching these teams play, and your bets either piss you off or they come to fruition.
We'll just get right into it because we got a lot. There's a lot of moving parts here. Obviously, with Kelsey, will he play? Will he not play? I would think it's unlikely he wouldn't play. I don't know,
Yeah.
10%, 15%. I guess his brother said that he's going to try to play. I would think they'd be cautious with him. It depends where you shop. Now, these aren't key numbers: 4, 4.5, 5, 5.5. But hey, you always want every half a point. Not that every half point is equal. Um, but let me just put you on the spot. I'll go DraftKings 4.5. Total is ticked back up to 53.5. Side total. I make you pick one of each. Kansas City minus 4.5. Over under 53.5. Give me your picks on both.
The over is a no-brainer for me there. I wish I would have locked in at 52, but I think that it does come back down a little bit once Travis Kelsey's officially ruled out. If he's ruled in, I don't know if we see too much movement because of basically what Jason Kelsey was saying that he's going to give it a go. That line's already come down a little, then back up. At the end of the day, we have to realize that the Detroit Lions weren't a good defense last year. And now they have upwards of 5 new starters on that defense. Yeah, they're supposed to be players that are going to make them better. They're supposed to take that second year jump, but it's against the Kansas City Chiefs, the defending Super Bowl champions at home, celebrating their Super Bowl win with Patrick Mahomes at quarterback. If anything, what Travis Kelsey does is it takes it takes that kind of like that pressure off of this elite passing game. And I think it actually allows them to run the ball more effectively. Something that the Detroit Lions kind of struggled with last season anyway. That's why you've seen numbers like on Isaiah Pacheco get all the way up at like the 53.5 for his rushing yards.
So your Chiefs and your under, your Chiefs and your over.
Chiefs and over. Yeah, gun to my head, I'd have to take
Okay.
the 4.5.
Oh,
I
so
just
you
feel like
take it. Okay.
I mean, I'd lay the 4.5. Excuse me. I just feel like gun to my head, like I lost so much value in that line coming down. Where if it was sitting at 6.5, like that feels like a line spread. But once we get closer to like 4, then I'm kind of over it. What about you?
Honestly, I think this is an important thing. Like, people always say, if this game was at Sunday at 1 o'clock, would you bet it? And if the answer is no, don't bet it because it's standalone.
Exactly.
Like, man, you could convince me of anything. You could say, hey, Lions are bad on defense. Andy Reid with time to prepare. Mahomes at home. It doesn't matter what his weapons are. Kansas City's going to light him up. And if Kelsey was in there, I'd be like, you know what? They are going to light him up. I don't know. What you said about they're going to run the ball more, that would, man, I would take the points. That would be like if I had to pick one of the two sides of like, hey, take the points or the over under. I take it. I think I'd worry a little bit about the Chiefs defense. No Chris Jones, no Frank Clark from last year, Snead. This is a really good offensive line for Detroit. So I could see Detroit just lining up and gashing them. Now, does Detroit try to shorten the game? Man, 53.5. I guess I would lean over, but it's really a coin flip for me. And I could see a scenario, even if even if the Chiefs are in control, the Lions are always that backdoor team where it's like they're down 10 late with the
Yeah.
ball and they punch one in and, it ends 34, 31, 31, 28, that kind of thing. So I would take the points. I think the Lions should be really good on offense with St. Brown, with the
Really
offensive
fun too.
line, with Gibbs. Montgomery, that's a nice 1-2 punch. Again, the offensive line versus the Chiefs who are decimated. It's weird. These opening nights are a mixed bag. It used to be the home team that's getting its rings dominated. The past couple years, it hasn't really been that. The Rams got smoked last year, if you remember that.
Yep.
A few years ago, the Chiefs went into New England and beat the Patriots big the year after the Patriots won. So I would take the points. Again, this isn't something like, oh, my God, I have to do this or I have to do that. I think there's some value on the props. Gibbs receiving prop has got steamed up, and that could lead us into any props. I guess the next question, we talked on this a little bit, and we'll get to first touchdown score. We'll get to baseball, college, everything. Um, let's assume Kelsey's out. Who's the guy who goes off for the Chiefs? Because man, Justin Ross, 30-1, first touchdown scorer. I've heard, Richie James could be a nice underneath guy. The Chiefs have so many guys, and some people are like, hey, I don't want to bet Chiefs receivers because any of them go off. Being like, hey, when you have uncertainty, you can get some big numbers, some big plus
Yeah.
prices. So I don't know. Who do you think takes the load if Kelsey isn't playing?
If Kelsey isn't playing, I think it's pretty spread around. We get a little Noah Gray action in there, but the touchdown price for Noah Gray actually matches. It's plus 190. He becomes the obvious choice. Justin Watson did a
Terrible
good
number,
job.
by the way. Terrible number.
Like 10,000% terrible. I'd rather play Sky Moore at plus 190 than Noah Gray at plus 190. I think we do see a big game out of Sky Moore. Because I had Sky Moore projected to hit his total close to his total. I didn't have him over with Kelsey in the lineup. Now Kelsey's out. Man, the touchdown scores are tough. These markets aren't that great.
Yes,
So
they're
I
not.
prefer
Because it's
rather
gotten so
than
public and they know people want to do it, so they just shrink the price. Like, hey, we know your idiots are going to bet it anyway, so we're just going to reduce all the numbers. They do this with
exactly.
MVP. They do this with Super Bowl winners. So yeah, I agree with you.
I'd probably play Isaiah Pacheco first touchdown score at 6.5. It sounds short, and obviously I'm not playing that with Kelsey. It sounds short, but
What
like
book is that?
that's DK.
Okay.
I was going offshore, but DK similar pricing. I
What
think
books have the
I think
best
DK
prices
is
for these
9.
generally, or does it vary just player to
DK
player?
has really good pricing.
You said DK does?
DK, I was trying to
Okay.
remember FanDuel's. I looked at FanDuel's last night. I might as well just pull it up right here. Pacheco's 9 on DK, and let me just go through the comparison of what I was thinking on this first touchdown. Like when you're getting 9-1 on Isaiah Pacheco, but you're only getting like 10-1 on Kadarius Toney, who's been hurt, 12-1 on Sky Moore, who we don't know is going to take that next step, and 13-1 on MVS, who is really deep ball reliant and not really a red zone threat. Where does your head start turning? I don't know if Rashee Rice is going to be in the mix enough. Justin Watson would be another guy who'd have to take one. Maybe you could convince me 30-1 on Richie James, a little underneath screen for a touchdown. But yeah, the pricing's kind of like really, I don't know, it's pretty frustrating if you want to take a shot on a guy. Like taking a shot on a guy like Noah Gray at 14-1, like first a 9-1 is not really there for me.
I remember you used to get like 30-1 on Mahomes. Now we're down to like 17-1. Mahomes
Yeah.
cashed me a couple times 30-1, and he's had a habit. I don't know if this is a random trend, but primetime games for whatever reason, he's gotten the first touchdown a lot. I had a big ticket a couple years ago. It was Monday night against the Ravens, man. That was one of the biggest scores of my life. But I mean, those were 30-1. You're talking big difference, 17-1.
Yeah.
Laporta for Detroit, 17-1. Do you think they'll use Laporta a lot, the tight end? Was he from Iowa?
Yeah, from Iowa. I think they do use him a lot. Jared Goff's tight end usage was pretty high, and he's the man. I think I had his number at 35, his receiving number. I didn't, but like to be honest, Will, like this thing happens with so many bettors, and I tried not to fall into the trap of it, where it's the first game of the season, the standalone game.
People want to bet everything.
Yes. I am okay with waiting to see what we get from Laporta. I don't even think I looked at what his number was. So I might as well look it up now. 29.5.
Yeah,
I'd probably
29.5.
I have it at 35 as my number.
How about 60 plus at plus 440? I'm looking at Bet Rivers.
60 plus. Man, that's tough.
Plus
That's
440
like crazy usage. I know, yeah. I mean, listen, I'm never going to talk you off a plus 400 number.
7 catches, 68 yards, something like that. A game with a lot of offense, especially if they get behind early, they need to score. I mean, 60 yards is not a ton.
Chain mover, he has one catch of like 15 yards that kind of helps out.
And then more, I'm looking at some of these are decent prices again. Shop around. Sky Moore over 79.5 is 4-1. So again, I don't know who's going to get the usage for the Chiefs, but one guy could get all of it, and you could this time tomorrow or this time later tonight will be the game will be over. Like, man, this guy was plus 800 to do this. Like, I think you'll get some big prices because they don't know how to price this with Kelsey's injury. There's just so much uncertainty. Who gets the love? It's the first game, so I feel like there's some big opportunities here.
Yeah, there's some big opportunities there, and I took Sky Moore 100 yards and a touchdown. DraftKings won't let you get that high. They'll let you get to 75 yards and a touchdown. I'd rather just take 75 yards at the price that they're sitting than add the touchdown in there. when you combine the two odds in a fair price calculator, it doesn't match up to what they offer you.
Yeah. I don't know. For first touchdown, DraftKings for me, I'd probably go Gibbs at 12-1, just because there's so many different ways. Like here's the thing: when you pick them that high and you get criticized for picking them that high, you almost have to justify it, and you have to give them the ball,
Yeah.
you have to give them touches. And man, from Bama, this is your guy, so you know how talented
Yeah.
he is, and he is really talented. I get people like criticizing the pick because of the value of the pick, but the player is just fine for me. The player is really good. The reports out of camp have been encouraging. Like, man, this kid's the real deal. Again, it's a good offensive line. Chiefs beat up,
Yep.
so you have to worry about Montgomery stealing it, and that might be another angle too. Where I don't know. Do you think they use Gibbs more of a receiver, Montgomery more of a running back? I don't know, but to me, Gibbs
Yeah,
12
I
to
think
one's worth the
I
price.
think Gibbs is only targeted to projected to have 8 carries in this game. And I say only, like that's a super small number, but
Who's projecting that?
that's what what's it called? The FTN or whatever.
Okay,
Whatever the prop company is that tells you the opening line and projected carries and all that stuff.
right.
Um I have the exact name of it.
And it's no disrespect to them. I think FTN is definitely one of them. And look, they do a really good job. It's just,
Yeah.
man, first game, it's a lot of guesswork. I mean, he could have 20. He
Lot
could have, I mean, he
of
could have 6.
guesswork.
I don't know. I would think, 8 would be light because, especially if you lose. Like the headlines tomorrow, the talking points tomorrow. Like, wait a second, you picked the running back. Whether you pick him 12th, and you gave
Higher
him,
than that, I think.
was it not? What number was it?
Like 9 or something?
Okay, even better. You pick this kid 9th in the draft. You pick a running back in the top 10, and you gave him 7 carries. What are you doing? So I think he'll
Yeah.
get touches. I think he'd get a lot of touches.
I think they get touches. I mean, carries alone, like you bring other 12th, you're right, 12th overall pick. You bring in David Montgomery, though, like you have to
Yeah,
feed him as well. And it's not like you bring in Montgomery and he was on the decline. That's what
right.
is interesting about this team. That's what also kept me away from, like, I see a lot of people playing David Montgomery rush yards, Gibbs rush yards. I think there's more upside of laddering or playing the alt line for Gibbs than Montgomery for
Yeah.
rushing.
I just think it's still a bad look to be like, man, this kid, we picked a running back 12th overall and he got 6 carries or something. It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
he threw him the ball, but and I agree. I gave out the receiving yards over. I don't mind laddering it. 60 plus on Bet Rivers is plus 440. I think he's,
You know what? I might take Gibbs rushing yards alt over.
what number you got?
I'm looking right now.
Yeah.
FanDuel has it locked. Okay. DraftKings, Rush, alt baby.
Nobody's hanging the number
They
on
have
Kelsey,
70.
right?
They have 75 plus for plus 700.
And nobody's hanging the number on Kelsey.
No.
Okay.
Man.
Yeah. I was driving to the book. I was like 5 minutes away when the news came out the other day. I was going to take his under, figure if he plays, he's banged up. And hey, if he just gets one snap, maybe he has a bad game, but those numbers are off the board, which doesn't shock me. But they do leave the first touchdown score up and they don't give you a good price on it. So be
I'm going to
careful of
take
that.
this for a quarter unit. I mean, for a half unit, excuse me. Shit.
Also, DK has this promotion. Bet either team on the money line. If they go up by 7 points, you win your bet, $100 minimum. Just take Detroit, get the bang for your buck. You don't get any sort of return on Kansas City. What do you win? $30, $40, something like that. It might as well win the 100 to win 200. And then, hey, you get a quick touchdown, you cash your bet out, and then you can do whatever with it. So I think that's obviously the way to play that. And again, keep an eye on these promotions. These books, they want your money, they want your action. So take advantage of them and keep an eye out for those. Anything else on this game?
I have props that I'll give out.
Go. And you got a sleeper pick too.
And I have a sleeper pick. I took Patrick Mahomes over 17.5. I think there's still some. I took him 16.5. There's still some 17.5s available rushing yards. So like I'll give you a quick breakdown. I don't want to bore people to death with these kind of plays, but Patrick Mahomes last year in the 5 regular season primetime games hit his over in 3 out of the 5. And the 2 games that he didn't hit, it wasn't like particularly close. Like the 2 games he didn't hit, he only ran the ball like twice, and it wasn't real runs. It was just like a little small scramble to kind of get out of dodge. The Lions last year were which also this is going to change a little bit too because it's a little bit different defense there, but they were the worst team against the quarterback run. They did play Justin Fields twice, which skews the numbers, but Carson Wentz ran for 23 Trevor Lawrence ran for 32. Sam Darnold ran for 19. I just think we're in a pretty good. Wow, Jahmyr Gibbs' price just went down as I said. I'm gonna take it. That is absolutely hilarious.
Which price?
For 75 plus
Rushing yards?
rushing.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
funny.
So look, I think this will be a good game again. It's the first game. There's 272 of these. You don't have to bet every market, every game. You just enjoy the game. If you see something live, bet it. Just and I'm talking to the audience, but I'm also talking to myself. Or like I'm excited too. I want to bet everything. It's a little bit. You get a little FOMO. Oh, I want to bet this. I want to bet that. You pace yourself. It's like, it's like starting to drink during the day. You don't want to sit here and just chug a bunch of shots and a bunch of drinks. Early in the day, and you end up passing out. That's just pace yourself. It's a long season, so enjoy the game. If you have an edge, if you think you have an edge, take a shot on it, but don't go crazy. I know as people, listen to that, it's one ear out the other. Like, fuck that, I'm gonna bet everything. So
they have like 25 props for the first game. And then not only are they like stressed out, now they have to break even. Let me answer Tone's question real quick. Does no Orlando Brown help Mahomes rushing? Add that and add no Kelsey. His scramble rate was, his scramble rate on broken plays was pretty high last year because that's pretty much what he was getting his yards on, not on design carries, unless it was like goal line instances. So yeah, this is a number that I'm super comfortable playing. It opened at 13.5, moved to 15.5, got all the way up to high to 18 with the Kelsey news.
Super Bowl predictions before we move on to college football and some baseball and get you out of here. Who you got? Super Bowl.
I put Eagles versus the Bills. And for me, the reason I picked the Bills was because I just think this injury lingers here for Travis Kelce. And we have to be honest that when the playoffs comes, I don't care who the quarterback is, without your superstar wide receiver, tight end, life becomes difficult. I think the Bills start to figure this thing out here. And then I have Eagles, even with the tough schedule, they're just getting better. Those young players are going to be those young defensive players are going to be a force to be reckoned with come the end of the season. I have Eagles winning it all. What about you?
It's funny. This is Mahomes' 6th season, which in and of itself is hard to believe. Like, man, 6 years. He's been in the AFC title game all 5 years. He's hosted the AFC title game all 5 years. Hell, he could have won the Super Bowl all 5 years. He's been that close, even the years he hasn't won. And he could easily have 0 rings too. The ones he won could have gone either way. So he could have 5. He could have none. At some point, like, it's the NFL. At some point, you're going to get bounced early or have a bad year. Somebody's going to get hurt. So I don't mind fading the Chiefs. I am going to go with the Jets and the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys and Eagles are really close in terms of talent. Nobody wants to pick the Cowboys because every time you pick the Cowboys to do anything, they burn you. So I totally understand it. I just think they're pretty equal in terms of teams. And the Eagles just they had a really soft schedule last year. They have a very tough schedule this year. Tough. Starting in November, the Eagles have 5 games, 2 against the Cowboys, 1 against the 49ers, Bills on short rest, and at the Chiefs. And the difference might be this between the Cowboys and the Eagles. Dallas doesn't have to play Kansas City. Philly has to play in Kansas City. So Philly's got to play at the Chiefs. Dallas doesn't have to play the Chiefs at all. That might be one of those just little subtle advantages where Dallas, can win this division. If you win the division, you're live. And the Jets, to me, look, I've talked about it. They almost made the playoffs last year. They had the worst quarterback play on God's green earth and still almost made the playoffs. I don't buy this idea that Rodgers is shot. I think he got mopey last year. I think maybe his thumb was hurt. To me, Rodgers has plenty left. This team was elite on defense. They actually have a tough schedule. They have a really tough schedule, but they get 10 home games, 10 games in their home building. So at 89-1, and you can get that Bet Rivers, FanDuel, 89-1, Jets, Cowboys. Somebody says Cowboys, come on.
Oh my God, I saw that. No, Will, listen, I'll tell you this. I don't have action on either of those teams that I put in the Super Bowl just because I don't agree with the pricing. Yeah. I have the only team that I have action on to win the Super Bowl, and I have them at a bunch of different prices, are the Jets.
Look, Jets, Cowboys, 49ers, those are probably the 3 best defense in the league. Eagles are right there, though. Eagles, every time the Eagles played a good quarterback last year, they got torched. Rodgers on Sunday Night Football against Green Bay, the Super Bowl against Mahomes. If you go back and look, the Eagles had such a soft schedule. So, look, it's the NFL. I mean, anybody to sit here, this isn't going to happen, that's not going to happen. I mean, Crazy stuff happens in the NFL. It's a short season. It's a small sample size. I mean, you think about it, 17 game season now. like in baseball, teams like the Royals have 7-game winning streaks. The A's had a 7-game winning streak. So like in 17 games, random things can happen. So look, a lot of things can happen. I'm going to go Jets, Cowboys. I'll have the Jets winning too. So Tone, you want to get in here? What do you got? I know, like, for people that don't know, he's a Bengals fan, so he's probably gonna have the Bengals playing an inter squad scrimmage in the Super Bowl. Bengals versus Bengals. Who you got, Tone?
Who you got, Tone?
You want me to start out with the NFC or should I just get it out there?
The suspense is gone. Who are the Bengals playing?
Look, it is going to be the Bengals. I talked about it before the show with you guys. I think this is the most complete the team is. I think this is really the final year of as wide as the window is going to be for a championship. Next year, you have to start figuring out what you're going to do with T. Higgins and all that stuff. I think they come out fast this year. I think they can take the number 1 seed in the AFC, and I think they can make the Super Bowl. I have them going up against the 49ers from the NFC. Shanahan's a wizard. I think they take that division pretty easily. I think they fight with the Eagles for the number 1 seed, but I kind of like San Francisco to take that. I think Brock Purdy can continue what he was doing last year, which honestly, with that defense, is just enough. And when you also have Christian McCaffrey, that also helps. So I do think it's going to be a repeat of the Bengals' other 2 Super Bowls that aren't the Rams, but I think it's going to be Bengals and 49ers. Yeah, I want to say the Bengals win. It's obviously all full of bias with me here, but as unbiased as
that's okay, man.
Yeah, but if you're honestly looking at this team, like the Bengals are a really, really good team. The only hope for me is that Burrow's calf does not flare up again. Because again, just like every other team in the league, your quarterback goes down, the season's fucked. So I got Bengals 49ers. Give me the Bengals to win it.
Lions plus that's a good angle. Somebody in the chat is asking Lions first half plus 3.5. That's a good number. I saw 3s and I saw 2.5. Who has 3.5? If it can get back to us, would you touch any of these team props first half, anything like that? I saw the team total for the Lions was 23.5. The first half team total I think was 10.5. And I'm just reading off random things here. First quarter total in general was 10. Rarely win Super Bowl without a quarterback. Got that huge hole. They won't overcome that. We saw that. They didn't have their quarterback in the NFC Championship, so that's not really what happened. Any thoughts on first half any of those markets, Brad?
It's such a tough for me to bet early markets like that early in the season. I'm such a data better,
right?
And then there's so many obstacles that have been so many new changes and players out that have thrown me for a loop for this game. So I'm not betting any first half, anything like that. But you know what would be funny? A good bet. I don't know if you run halftime full time at all.
Say that again. Halftime. I don't mess with those a lot.
I could see Detroit halftime winner, Chiefs full time winner plus 600.
Ooh. That's not bad. I mean, again, with those, you got to avoid the tie, right? Like if you're tied at half, you lose.
That would suck. I would cry if that happened.
I mean, look, and when you're dealing with first quarter, first halves, like you get a lot of ties. So that would be another little piece of advice. Hey, I'm betting the first quarter. I'm betting the first half. Do not lay half a point. Just take the money line, pay the extra juice because a lot of first quarters end tied, a lot of first halves end tied. So that's that's definitely one thing to keep an eye on. I'm tempted to take over 10 first quarter.
Tempted to take over 10 first quarter. That's fair.
The Chiefs will get one.
That's fair. And then the Chiefs are like, what the best third quarter bet is over 10 for the Chiefs. They smash that. They come out of the locker room smart, great. You can already bet it at minus 130. Is it available on DraftKings? Let me see.
While you're looking that up, I would say keep a reminder too who gets the ball first and who gets the double possession because sometimes you can get advantages late in the half where hey, this team's going to have back-to-back possessions. They're going to end the half with the ball, and they're going to get it to start the third quarter. I don't know if that always properly gets priced, so keep that in mind. Who's getting the ball to start the third quarter too.
It's plus 105 for over 10.5.
So that's third quarter total.
Yeah,
third quarter total over 10.5. Okay. We'll get to some college here quickly on baseball. Again, no day games is just ridiculous. Braves versus Wainwright. Look, bet it any way you can. I bet yes run first inning for the Braves. I bet Braves to homer in the first inning plus 275. I gave these out. I bet Wainwright to not record a strikeout in the first inning, even money. First 5 team totals over 3.5 for the Braves. I laid a run and a half with the Braves. So again, don't do too crazy and just overbet your bankroll. But any sort of fading Wainwright backing the Braves. I know you got burned last night with Atlanta, but they should be able to smash Wainwright, especially at home, coming off a loss. So there's lots of ways to play it. Any of those 5 are fine with me. The Rangers continue to just get killed. Scherzer got bombed last night. The Astros swept them. Yeah, but Josh gonna lose that bet. Astros are gonna win that division.
That is.
I don't know. Anything else for baseball? You want to get to college?
I am kind of tempted to take Castillo over 6.5 Ks. I think he'd be better off. I think 6 is a lot safer. Obviously, suggests the price, but like the Rays strike out a ton. Well, they've been striking out a ton recently. Castillo hasn't hit that number in back-to-back games, but the numbers that the teams that he was playing against, he played against the Mets, who don't strike out a ton, the Royals, who don't strike out a ton. But then when he played against the White Sox, he had 9 Ks. He played against Baltimore, 9 Ks. Arizona, 7 Ks. Angels, 6 Ks. So like, I could see a lot of strikeouts for Castillo tonight.
He says, my brother, Atlanta burned us 2 days in a row. Did Atlanta lose that game Tuesday too?
Yep, they lost 2 in a row.
They lost 2 in a row to them? My goodness. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's, hey, this is maybe the time to back them then. Usually these really good teams versus bad teams, they don't lose 3 in a row. I know that sounds like a square analysis, be like, oh, they're due, but Strider MVP season's over. Yeah, the Cy Young. Snell, I don't think wrapped it up. Steele's got a chance, but it's Strider. Strider is out. I think Gallen's probably out. It is it is definitely Snell or Steele. So let's hope it's Snell. Let's see from Twitch. I got Wainwright over 5.5 5.5 hits allowed. I think that's a good one too.
That's a good one.
Unless they just bomb him early and get him out of there, he's going to get hit and he's going to get hit hard. So I like those. College football. It's a fun slate. Nebraska, Colorado. A 3.5 popped up yesterday. At 3.5, I have to take Nebraska. I think this is just a massive overreaction. I think Nebraska wasn't that bad last week. They were -3 in turnovers and still should have won the game. Colorado, you still have questions about their defense. So I'm on Nebraska. You take it away any game you want. Colorado, Nebraska, the Bama
First,
game.
let me talk about this Nebraska game. Well, I have no intentions of betting this. I will be on Sanders over at 315.5. I haven't posted that publicly. Someone asked me to break down this game. And like you said, so we had over 11 points of value of line movement, but it was basically like one-sided line movement. Jeff Sims threw 3 picks, but did we come in there expecting that Jeff Sims was going to light it up? If we look at post-game win expectancy for Nebraska, it was really high against Minnesota. They all but had that game wrapped up. The disadvantage for Colorado is on the line of scrimmage. They were only able to run for about 700 yards. On the other side of the ball, they gave up over 200 yards running, and they're going against a team who is more than okay with running the ball every play if they have to, which led me to take Jeff Sims over 65.5 rush yards. One thing that kind of stood out too also is I think Sanders gets sacked a bunch. He was pressured 36% of the time, while TCU doesn't have a good defensive line. They weren't able to actually get to him. But against Nebraska, who had in their first game against Minnesota, who's a quality opponent, had a 14.9% havoc rate on the defensive line, which means they're going to be able to get to it. I think it was a 7.8 sack rate against Minnesota. We know that Sanders is able to move in the pocket, but he's not like the quarterback to move the chains when he's running with his legs. So I think that we're going to see a lot of how do we call it? Nasty ball. A lot of mean football on the.
Nebraska's going to try to muck it up.
Exactly, try to muck it up. I just think 3.5 is just freaking gross, dude. Like,
yeah, are there 3.5 still, or
there was 3.5. So I wrote this article at 10 a.m. It was 3.5 still available at 10 a.m.
What book?
It was pretty widely available at 10 a.m.
Really?
I'm pulling it up right now. Yeah, I'm pulling it up right now.
I feel like what happened is it kept moving. Then the 3, like it was all public money, whatever. Then the 3.5s came, and then like there was professional money, like 3.5 is too many, and they picked
too many. Yep, that professional money came in hard. Let's see what's that now. Control F. Oh wait,
I'm seeing 3 at Rivers. What kind of juice I got to pay for 3?
Good reminder. Use Pickett to shop your lines. 3s now. Wow, FanDuel's all the way down to 2.5.
3.5 -18 at Rivers.
Wow. I would not play Nebraska at 2.5 on FanDuel. What the heck?
And never take 2.5 unless the game's about to start, unless you have to, because you might
unless
get a
you're
3.
forced. Yeah.
You might get a 3. And if it goes down to 2, who cares? If it goes to 3 or 3.5, it's all the difference in the world.
Bet Rivers has moved back to 3.5.
No, but you could toggle with it and adjust the juice. You pay minus 118 to get the 3.5.
Yeah, which is still fair. I think I don't think that I would play Colorado at this point. Like, if you liked Colorado, just sit it out, dude. Just sit it out because all of your value is gone.
Yeah. Yep. How about the other games?
Yeah, I have a couple of plays. Let's talk about bets that I think you guys should get in now. Notre Dame versus Navy. Notre Dame versus North Carolina State. I'm sorry, we already missed the 7s, I think. Again, shop your lines, but I think it's pretty much consistent 7.5 now, which I actually have them at 10 for me for my number. They're going against a team that brings in Anai, and we expect Anai to transform this offense. And I wrote this in my article too, if you guys ever want to look it up. But like, when I think about Brennan Armstrong, there's no part of me that says, wow, this guy is going to win me a football game with his arm. And that's basically what I was looking at in this game. We have a Notre Dame team who, much like in the game we just talked about, will be physically imposing on the offensive and decent defensive line. More so their offensive line against the defensive line of North Carolina State, who lost some talent. But the bet that I think you should absolutely get in is Estime over 79.5 rushing yards. My number for him was 90. I'd probably play him up to 85 just because the percentage rule, you lose too much value. But they're going to be able to run all over this team. UConn ran all over North Carolina State, and we're not sitting here and praising North Carolina State that much. It's going to be an interesting game to see, because when I was listening to Robert Anai's press conference, he's just carrying on. They ask him, what's one thing you want to change between this week and next? One word answer was explosiveness. But the problem is, it's one thing to say you want to be explosive, and it's another thing to execute it. I don't think they have the talent to execute it, and I don't think Brennan Armstrong's an explosive enough quarterback with his arm. Doesn't make good enough decisions with his arm to be to make that change happen overnight.
So you're on Notre Dame.
Notre Dame and Estime over 81. If I had to pick between the two, if people don't want to bet multiple, I'd bet Estime rushing yards.
Everybody's going to be on Notre Dame. That's just the obvious. I don't know. I kind of like NC State. I just think it's a lot of points. That's a tough place to play in NC State. That's a
Notre Dame. A lot of Notre Dame's always, Notre Dame's one of those teams where I don't care about the public, because Notre Dame is always the public side.
Yeah.
5-2 as a road favorite. 5-2 as a road favorite of a touchdown or more in their last 7. If anybody likes trends. 23-1 against ACC teams since 2019.
5-2 in their last 7 means 5-3 in their last 8.
No, but I get what you're saying. Like, everyone's going to Notre Dame, but Notre Dame, Ohio State, Alabama are the 3 teams where I have a hard time, conceptualizing everyone, because everyone bets those teams all the time.
Yep.
I have been tasked by NBC Sports to be the Notre Dame analyst. So this was a spot where, for me, I was really excited to bet.
All right. That's what's that, noon kickoff on Saturday?
12:30 kickoff.
All right. So we got plenty of time to talk. Are you back tomorrow?
I am back tomorrow. Wait, let me get one more bet that starts tonight. Oh, wait, no, it's tomorrow. We don't need it. We can do it.
And you did sleeper?
All right, let me do my sleeper play. Yeah, I love this sleeper play. It's normally how it ends up terrible. Let me pull it up real quick. Okay, so I used the free square for Christian McCaffrey rushing yards. Shedeur Sanders over 12.5 passing yards. That's Colorado quarterback. Jeff Sims over 62.5 rushing yards. I have him at 83 clean yards. So I didn't factor in rush yards there. If he does get sacked a bunch, which I don't think happening with Colorado, that number's obviously going to be changed. And then Connor Wegman over 237.5 passing yards. That number has been on the move. Wegman, quarterback for Texas A&M, now has Bobby Petrino as his OC. in a game where I don't rate Miami's secondary that high. I think Wegman should be able to get closer to the 260 number. It pays 9.78.
All right. Sounds good. Check out Sleeper. Check out Pickett. Hall of Fame bets. Appreciate you guys on the chat contributing. Good luck. Let's have a great NFL night. Let's have a great NFL season. I'm excited. I just keep staring at the clock, hoping it's closer. Man, fun day. Football is back. It is back in full swing. We get a full Sunday. So appreciate you guys for listening. Thank you to Brad, Pickett, Sleeper, and Hall of Fame. We will see you guys tomorrow, 1 o'clock Eastern. Until then, good luck and thanks for listening.